CW.
We as a community are all responsible for, helping create a community where violence is not acceptable.
Holiday lights and holiday fights. End of the year celebrations can lead to extra stress, which can lead to violence in the home. Local crisis centers talked to Valley News Live's Veronica Marshall today about getting help to people in dangerous situations and the cost of staying silent.
A lot of families see the holidays as an opportunity to capture some joy before the end of the year, but that mentality may set them up for extra stress.
So I think what we know about the holidays is that there's almost this sense of everybody needs to be happy. There's this celebration, everything's wonderful, everybody's getting along, which are goals that are completely, unattainable even for the healthiest of relationships.
That tension can escalate to violence. And in Fargo, local crisis centers are full of families searching for safety.
We are above capacity this week. We weren't above capacity last week.
Now, experts want your help and ask you to reach out if you suspect someone is being abused. Signs include anxiety, depression, and fatigue.
And what we see oftentimes is that women have been told through abusive situations that they have no value and that they're worthless. And that's just simply not true.
They may say no, not at this time, or might not be willing to share, but at least you had planted the seed for them that they know that you are somebody that they could come to in a time of need.
Especially because adults aren't the only ones who suffer in abusive homes.
We also know that during the holidays that children also, want this picture of a beautiful, loving family. They get really excited about the holidays, and they're always in tune with what is going on with their family members. If there is domestic violence that has occurred or is occurring or has occurred in the past during the holiday season, then each time that comes, that's a reminder of that.
In Fargo, Veronica Marshall, Valley News Live.
There is more hope and help on the way for area families looking to start over after domestic violence. The YWCA of Cass Clay says it has the funding for 30 additional apartments for its supportive housing program. In fact, groundbreaking for the new units is scheduled for next spring. Now, coming up after the weather, details behind the late afternoon officer-involved shooting at the Minneapolis City Hall. Plus, another law enforcement agency's name being used to try and scam you. But let's go to Robert Hahn now. And Robert, those wet roads tonight could turn dangerously slick by morning.
Definitely could turn slick as we head through the overnight hours. A live look outside on the Coronado.com Valley Skycam. Part of the Storm Team Skycam network shows those wet roadways out there and in areas that saw more precipitation than we saw here in Fargo, especially across northern portions of the valley into northern Minnesota. Certainly going to see some slick conditions as temperatures dip down to and below freezing. Still just a degree above freezing here in Fargo, 33. Feels more like 26. Winds out of the west and southwest at 8 miles per hour. A degree warmer, 34 over in Moorhead. Temperatures across the region now getting down to freezing in a lot of locations. Below freezing up in Langdon with a 28-degree temperature. And again, as temperatures continue to dip, could see a few slick spots developing out there on area roadways. Winds primarily out of the west, and they're going to stay out of the west and the northwest as we head through the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. They'll become a bit breezy. Some breezy conditions for the first half of the day tomorrow, but those winds subsiding later on in the day. 17 your wind chill in Langdon, 21 in Hallock, 22 in Thief River Falls. Clouds, we've got them out there, still quite a bit of cloudiness. So we'll see a decrease in those clouds late tonight and into tomorrow morning. Underneath those clouds, a small area of light snow making its way through our far southwestern counties. Not going to amount to much, but it could add 1 or 2 slick spots to the area roadways. The steadier snow that we saw across northern portions of the valley and also even some sleet and freezing rain that has pushed well off towards the east, off towards the west, seeing some snow. That changes to rain in the lower elevations of the Pacific Northwest. A few showers and storms making their way through East Texas. Overnight tonight, we'll have that decreasing cloudiness and again some breezy conditions developing as we head towards tomorrow morning with overnight lows dipping into the 20s. Again, some slick conditions out there where right now you're seeing the wet roadways or the slushy roadways. That isolated flurry or snow shower possible in northern portion of Minnesota. Chilly across the north, not as chilly across the south as we head through your Tuesday. Jumping ahead into Wednesday, still looking like a pretty decent shot of snow across much of the region. How much snow are we talking about? Well, generally about 3 to 6 inches of snow possible and some isolated higher amounts possible in portions of the valley. We'll continue to monitor this. This could shift north or south. Behind that, here comes the Arctic air as we head through your holiday weekend. Here in Fargo, we'll start off the day with temperatures in the low 20s, a bit breezy. We'll stay breezy through lunchtime and temperatures in the upper 20s. Winds subside just a bit by the end of the day and temperatures in the low 30s. Picture of the day, a frosty morning in Goodrich. Thanks so much to Allison for sending that in. Going to use that as the backdrop to our 7-day forecast. Tomorrow, quiet, and then the snow moves in on Wednesday, and then the Arctic air moves in as we wrap up the week and head into the weekend. May not get above 0 throughout the Christmas weekend.
I think there's some folks out there looking forward to a little bit of white stuff out there.
The white stuff, yes, I imagine so, but the Arctic stuff, not so much.
No blobcats.
Exactly.
All right, thanks.
You got it.
New at 9 for you tonight, a snowmobiler had to be airlifted for treatment after a crash south of Fargo tonight. The Cass County Sheriff's Office says deputies were called out to the crash south of the Wild Rice area. It happened just after 5:30. They say a 23-year-old man had unknown injuries but was wearing a helmet at the time of the crash. Authorities say that they are investigating whether or not alcohol played a role in the crash due to their initial findings. They are not releasing the man's name at this time. Still no official word on the condition of a man who was shot by Minneapolis police tonight at City Hall. But sources say the stab wounds he inflicted himself did more damage and were described as horrific. Authorities say the man pulled out an edged weapon as he was being questioned in one of the department's investigative rooms. Police tried to subdue the man before opening fire and wounding him. He was taken to the hospital. Several officers involved in the incident have been put on paid administrative leave. A DUI charge has been filed against a driver who collided with another vehicle near Grand Forks. 33-year-old Justin Lauterbaugh of Grand Forks was arrested and taken to Altru Hospital with injuries. No word on how serious they are. Authorities say Lauterbaugh was on Highway 2 just west of Grand Forks when he attempted to make a turn and was hit by an SUV. The driver of that SUV and a 3-year-old and 1-year-old passengers suffered minor injuries. A female passenger with Lauterbaugh was also taken to the hospital with unknown injuries. A woman has pleaded guilty to manslaughter after her boyfriend died from a YouTube stunt that went wrong. 20-year-old Mona Lisa Perez told authorities that she and her boyfriend, Pedro Ruiz III, were filming a video when she shot him. It happened at the end of June at a home in Norman County. Ruiz died from a single gunshot wound to the chest. Perez told police that Ruiz wanted to make a YouTube video of her shooting a book that he was holding, and he believed the book would stop the bullet. Perez said that the entire incident was recorded. Police took the camera footage as evidence. Perez could spend more than 10 years in jail. A sentencing date has not yet been set. Authorities identified the name of a Minnesota woman who died after going through the ice on a lake in Hubbard County. Authorities tried but were unable to save 23-year-old Lauren Lund of Bemidji after she crashed through the ice on an ATV on Grace Lake last Friday. A hovercraft was used to pull out Lund from the water. 27-year-old Ethan Oftedal also broke through the ice. Both were taken to an area hospital. Lund was pronounced dead. Oftedal was treated for hypothermia. West Fargo police are warning you of 2 recent phone scams, one old, the other new. Valley News Team's Rose Itzkovitz has what you need to know to make sure you don't become a victim.
You may have heard of this one before.
A scam in which people will call people and try to convince them that their grandchildren are in custody somewhere and that they need to come up with cash in order to get them out of jail.
But even though it's not new, West Fargo Police Sergeant Derek Cruff says the method is tried and true. And right now, between 2 big holidays, is the perfect time for its comeback.
With grandchildren off to college at this time of the year, they usually are not coming back as often as they do, so it makes a good time to make it profitable.
That's why, he says, don't get sucked in.
And the longer they keep them on the phone, the more information that they can receive. So by building that up, it kind of builds their credibility to try to get people convinced.
But that's not the only phone scam going around the neighborhood. In a newer one, scammers say they're looking for donations for the West Fargo Fire Department.
People like to support our public entities, police, fire, so it's a good angle, I guess, for a scammer to try to make some money.
We don't ask for any donations. We run off taxpayer money.
But why now?
It might be that we were just in the news last week for receiving donations from Firehouse Subs, and maybe that was timing that these people saw that and figured they could maybe tack on to that.
Even just earlier today, a homeless drive was held at the station. But Chief Fuller says don't confuse a true charitable event or even a fundraiser with a phone scam.
We've never used telemarketing. or cold calling or anything like that to try to raise funds.
Bottom line, the best thing to do is hang up immediately and check with the officials. In West Fargo, Rose Iskowitz, Valley News Live.
And if you think you've been scammed in West Fargo, your advice is to call police at 701-433-5500. Northern Minnesota farming communities say that the feds are hurting them because of a surging wolf population. Cattle ranchers say that the comeback of the wolves is hurting their bottom line, and it's because a federal judge put them back on the protected list after a controversial ruling in 2014. If ranchers can prove that a cow was killed by a wolf, they get compensated around $1,000. The problem is hundreds of calves go missing, and ranchers never see that money come back.
I've lived here all my life, like I told you. I've lived with wildlife all my life. There's a place for everything, but there's got to be checks and balances.
We want to try to make our farmers whole. It's basically a thief stealing from them, stealing right out of their pocket, and our federal government has kind of let us down.
There's currently a bill in Congress to give Minnesota back control of the wolf population. In North Dakota, ranchers can shoot wolves if they are threatening livestock. There's a CW giveaway we're excited to tell you about tonight. It's a VNL VIP Fargo Force Suite Night experience on December 30th. All you have to do is register to win. Head over to valleynewslive.com or to ndtoday.tv and click on the contest tab. 2 winners will get the chance to hang out with the Valley News Live crew while also enjoying some fine hockey. The deadline to register is December 21st at noon. The Valley News Live team is also excited to be your home for coverage of the Road to Frisco for the Bison football team. We've got full team coverage with Valley News Live Sports Director Beth Houle, Ryan Gellner, and the whole Bison football pregame crew. We'll be bringing you live coverage from Frisco, Texas. That leads up to the game day on January 6th. The Farmers Union Insurance Bison football pregame show starts at 9:30 in the morning on game day. The number 1 seed James Madison and the number 2 seed North Dakota State Bison meet at Toyota Stadium for the FCS Championship.